Welcome to MDs in Manufacturing, a podcast that allows Yorkshire business leaders to share useful insights on their role and business. I'm Kerry Hope, Managing Director, owner of Castle Employment Group. And it's an honour today to welcome Kerry Taylor, Managing Director of CB Solutions. How are you today, Kerry?
I'm good, thank you very much for inviting me on. This is very exciting.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for agreeing to join the podcast today. Before we get going, do you want to share with the listeners a little bit more about who CB Solutions are and what you do?
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much. CB Solutions is a manufacturing business of aluminium and UPVC windows and doors and curtain walling. We also do internal timber fire door sets. We're serving predominantly the commercial sector, modular builders and traditional builders who are typically building modular schools, hospitals, office blocks, care homes, also in the MOD and MOJ sector as well, so prisons and refurbishments as well. So we're spread across quite a lot of sectors, and a new sector that we're really sort of like making a bit of presence in at the moment is the caravan holiday home manufacturing industry, as it's on a bit of a regrowth and bouncing back nicely from quite a slump. We've entered into that sector, and so there's lots of excitement there.
That's good. How are you? So that's great that sector's sounding like it's getting busier. How are you finding the other sectors? Are you starting to see signs that we're moving into a better place in the industry?
I think so, but I've probably been thinking we have for the last 6-7 months.
Okay.
And we're on a very slow trajectory, I think, with a gradual incline. There is a lot of sound, a lot of noise, but there's still a lot of delay in construction.
Okay.
There's been some change in legislation in the modular industry around January time with the JCOP legislation, where modular buildings have to now meet some new fire legislation. So there was a change there, but then there's also been changes in stairwell to high-rise apartments need a second stairwell. And then we have Gateway 2 for planning. Buildings that are in planning are going into a second gateway. So there's a huge amount of delay.
Right.
There's a lot of projects out there and a lot of projects that we priced for, but they've been delayed because some of them are now having to be re-engineered following Gateway 2 or Stairway 2, things like that. So there's a lot of noise that all of a sudden there's going to be this big release. We've all been thinking this might be happening for some time. So when it comes, it will be amazing. But it's just, when's it coming?
Right. Okay. Well, I'd love to watch and see when that all happens, and some of the questions that we'll probably go on to talk about will line us up for that as well. So one of the questions that I'm really interested to hear, and I'm sure our listeners will be too, is what led you into manufacturing and ultimately into the MD role?
So I think everyone thinks it's default because the company is actually owned by my dad. So I think people see the daughter as the natural default into the role, but that actually wasn't the case. I kind of earned the role rather than it being a handed role. My background is my education. I did a law degree, but then my working background, I was in education for 12 years in a community and business links management role. So I was involved in a lot of project work when the school was rebuilt. And ultimately, the primary aim of everything I was involved with was it to increase the school being first choice to students. And so once I'd achieved that through building the new school and better partnerships and offerings and things like that, my role then became redundant after 12 years. And it actually happened at a time when I was having an operation on my knee. So I kind of felt I'm not very employable going for an interview, hobbling or saying I've got an operation in a couple of weeks and a 10-week recovery, that kind of thing. So I came in temporarily into CB Solutions as a BDM, and quite a static role in the office to get a presence on social media. They weren't on LinkedIn at the time. To redevelop the website, does need another overhaul. We're talking 10 years ago. And do kind of all the nurturing of the relationships, analyse a bit of data, customers, suppliers, that kind of thing. And that was meant to be probably about a couple of months whilst I was going through the recovery with my operation. And I ended up staying. So I progressed to general manager over a couple of years and then eventually came onto the role of MD. I actually refused it the first time I was offered it. I didn't feel ready, felt a little bit still out my depth in new territory, but then took it on, I think it was maybe a year and a half later.
And how long ago was that now? How long have you been in the role?
My LinkedIn tells me 8 years, but I've been here longer than that. So I'm about 10, 11 years. It
Right.
flies, doesn't it, Kerry? Like
Yeah, it
time is
does.
just gone. Yeah, it feels probably only about last year, but no, it's longer than that.
No, longer than that. Well, I'm sure you've had a big impact in that time, and obviously you've mentioned about the delays, and you've mentioned about the sector. As CB Solutions MD, what would you say is keeping you sharp and on your toes at the moment? What would you say? Maybe it's what you've already referenced, but is there anything else, or do you want to elaborate more on that? So, what is keeping you on your toes in your industry and as the MD at CB Solutions at the moment?
So the lack of time that I have. Being
Okay.
an MD, it's exhausting, as you know. And
Mm.
you come in, you've got one hat on, then you've got another hat on, finance, marketing, bills, bringing new product. Keeping me on the toes at the moment is there's a little bit of scrapping for work. There's a lot of work there, but with jobs still being delayed, it feels like
Mhm.
there's still a bit of the scrapping. I don't want to be involved in the scrapping. So keeping me on my toes, trying not to get involved in that, and which is why we kind of focused on different opportunities. Moved into the modular home sector a bit more. We already had a slight presence in there, but I saw that as an opportunity. In sadly, some business didn't make this economic downturn, so there was room for another supplier to go in, and we've kind of tried to focus on that rather than get scrappy. I know I keep saying that word,
Yeah.
but that's sometimes how it's felt like the last 12 months.
Right.
So yeah, I don't want to be in that. I don't want to be dropping our standards, our expectations, our prices, and things like that. Just to, you've got to have purpose in what you do and not.
It's really hard, isn't it, when that starts to happen to the market? And that's probably what you mean by scrapping, the people dropping rates, trying to get interested and involved in your customers. And I think that's when standards drop. And we see it in our industry. We hold our value, we hold it well, and know that if that means that we're going to miss that opportunity, then we're going to miss the opportunity because we're not prepared to lower the margins to where some of our competitors are performing. Is that what you're meaning by scrapping? Is it up against your competition
Yeah,
with your
yeah,
customers?
yeah. That definitely is what I'm saying, because there is a lot of work out there, but because of these delays, people are kind of fighting over the ones that aren't in
Okay.
delays a little bit. And so that's what I mean by
Okay.
that. But another thing really keeping me on my toes, but I love it, is obviously the whole AI automation. I absolutely love it. What annoys me most though is not having the time to really invest in it and learn the new prompt that's come out today and the new frames, and then
Yeah.
go and tell
Yeah.
everybody. I mean, just yesterday we was working with the university, because whilst you're in a bit of a slump or a bit of uncertainty, it's not right to start recruiting heavily and things like that. So some of our guys, we felt a lot of pressure wearing all these different hats. So it's like, how can we work better with what we've got? What can we automate rather than making wrong appointments and things like that? And let's get the right appointments when we know the certainty of the market, the right bum on the seat. So we've been working with the university to see how we can automate a lot of things. And I actually gave them the ASDA scenario. So, if we win a job, with so much resource going into that communication with our customer, which is so important. So, when that job's come in, if there's a delay, or they might delay because they can't get on site. So there's so much communication. So, like when you get your ASDA order, you get your message, your email, and
Yeah.
your ASDA delivery is coming. And then you might get another one. Sorry, we've not been able to source your apples. Your substitute is. And you never speak
Yes.
to anybody. And I know that can annoy people, but that's the way of the world now.
It is.
So I
Yeah.
want us to get a lot more like that, because where
Okay.
we're losing time is you ring to update a customer, they're not available, they're in a meeting. You then got
Okay.
to ring back because you're thinking you need to communicate with them, you want to be personable. They're still in a meeting or they're not available. And you spend all day just trying to ring one customer to see if we can bring the job forward or just have that communication. So if we can automate things and we're just pinging emails to them, that's one little exciting thing.
Good.
So keeping up to date with
Yeah.
innovation, technology is really keeping me on my toes.
And it's definitely what other MDs are saying out there, that it's how do you implement it? Where's the benefit? How do you roll it out? How do you get everybody behind it? And there is lots of projects going on across lots of manufacturing and engineering companies that is who's doing what, how long is it taking them, can it be automated, does it need to be human, does it need to be automated? So yeah, I can absolutely and it's, you know, it's a good thing that that's keeping you on your toes at the moment whilst you wait for everything to come through. I mean, I've been reading on your LinkedIn updates that you've clearly embraced innovation. I mean, you've touched on it slightly, but I read that you've been overhauling your stock take systems and live zone inputs and Sage 200 into, like you've mentioned, you talk a lot about introducing AI into planning and content. What would you say from the work that you've done has been the needle mover for productivity or value in your operation? So over the last year, have you seen that what you've put in has really added value or improved productivity? Anything that you could share with the listeners?
Yeah, two things really. One came off the back of an event in January where a person left the company, and that really gave us the opportunity to not replace. As easy as it was to think, oh my God, let's replace, actually taking that breather, that stand back, making sure the next person's going to be the right person in the right role and all of those things. That sad departure was a real needle mover, because as things do, worms always come out the can. And so we've picked through all these worms and are really, you know, in a good shape now from that. But the stock was one of those worms, which, you know, we all hate stock takes. We lose production hours. The guys on the shop floor hate counting. Nobody loves it. The inputting gets pushed aside because it's such a laborious job. But actually with that departure, we all said, come on, we've got to get this stock take sorted. It's got to be more efficient. It's got to be miles quicker. You know, we don't want to be getting that stock figure 3 weeks down the line. We need it to be timely and we need it to be now. So actually that then made us look at our Sage partner. Our Sage partner was in Wales. Not ideal. Any training had to be online. We struggled with this online and them not quite understanding our level of, because we never had proper training. So we decided to put our notice in with them and find a new local Sage partner who came in and did training with us, and we've got other training days and they put guides together and things. And we decided, well, really the data from the counts need to be going in immediately, not 2 weeks down the line, so that if you're putting it in, you can see information's not accurate. It's, then you can go out and verify it whilst it's fresh in your head. So yeah, that's been the real needle mover, because where are you as a business if you do not know manufacturing, the total and the true value of your stock?
Yeah.
You don't know where you are, you don't know what your margins are, nothing. So, and that was the position. We was quite happy things looked okay.
Right.
But we had a really big shock when we all decided to go out and input straight away. Spreadsheets needed to go. I mean, some people can do amazing things on spreadsheets, but so much human error. So we had to be taught and learn how to extract the information from our Sage 200, because that's the price we bought at. That's the unit of measure, and that's the quantity. So, you know, it's all those things, and then putting account sheets to those. So yeah, that's been the real needle mover, getting the stock accurate in the wake of obviously that departure.
And I'm sure that will go on to be transformational for you and for the team and for the business.
Well, the second stock take now, since we've done the change, and the figure looks what we expected. So yeah, it's all looking more accurate. But the other needle mover, like I said earlier, for us, is getting into this new industry. That's where my buzz is at the moment. I can bore you to death with it. But yeah, coming up with sort of like it's not an innovative product because it's been around, but it's a product that we're really marketing and showing to the sector that they haven't been fully aware of. So it's really exciting, but that's a big needle mover to us. And that's a great industry. It's a shame it went through such a pain, but that is how that industry operates. So we've just got to be mindful of that as well, that it doesn't become too large a percentage of our business. We want to be nice, sustainable with a presence, but not fully reliant on that sector.
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it, when it's seasonal or a sector where there's risk attached to it, because when it's going well, it's brilliant. And yeah, I can empathise with that in some of the sectors that we work with. But you've been taking a leading role in building community through your Women in Manufacturing group, and I understand from what I was reading that you've even ran an AI session for them, and that's obviously coming through from what we've been talking about. And I loved reading that you've been doing it with them. What's your approach, Kerry, to attracting and keeping great people at CB Solutions, especially with the talent landscape constantly shifting, and where you're based and what you do, and what is your approach to attracting and keeping great people?
Yeah, so based in East Yorkshire, right along the coast, probably 5-10 minutes from the seaside, which is lovely on a Friday when you finish early for a walk on the beach. But yeah, there's, we're 25 miles from Hull, so trying to get people to come out Hull is difficult. Leeds, they're not going to make it, so it's all about recruiting local and trying to look after those. We introduced a grade system a good few years ago now. Really listened to the staff when they were saying they were equal to one another and they should be all paid the same, and I didn't like people on different wages. I just wanted fairness. So we worked with them to introduce a grade system so they could see what they needed to do. So that really helped. It gave people sort of like progression as well, and openness, transparency, and what they would be paid. We always try and do a percentage of living increase every year. This year we did delay it, which we had to make sure we communicated that again, just trying to be transparent and honest with them. Fortunately, we are able to do that increase at this moment. There was a bit of a twist of fate really for us, in that people that worked for us were more wanting the security of a job than necessarily I need a pay rise and things like that. So I hope that's what they got from us from that. We've never done layoffs, or we've done some short working hours a couple of years ago, but only once in the 25 years we've existed. So we've never done redundancies or anything like that. So I think maybe there's a bit of reputation there for us, hopefully. We've got amazing facilities. I don't think they go really anywhere towards retention or attraction. So when you try and measure it, doesn't we? So we've got a welfare centre with pool table, a football table, massive TV with Sky Sports, USB, dartboard room, showers. We've got it all dancing, but I don't actually think that goes anywhere towards it. I mean, I turned the Sky Sports off 2 years ago. No one's ever said a word. In the cars charging the phones rather than in the canteen or having a game of pool and things like that. Oh, looks great. We have an employee growth committee. I deliberately don't sit on that so they can bring up anything they want and talk about it. We do events. But again, they all sound real nice and fluffy things, but I don't think they make the difference.
What do you think does make the difference? What do you think does make the difference?
I think
because lots of people are looking at this all the time, aren't they? Especially with talent getting so difficult. Actually, it's much easier to just retain your people, and it sounds like what you're doing from a culture point of view is outstanding. What do you think is making a difference for your guys then? What do you think does make the difference in your industry?
Honesty, openness, transparency. If it's shit and it's bad, still tell them. They're behind you, they appreciate that. People don't want bullshit, they just want you to be honest with them. If you're going through a rough time, let's not leave them thinking, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job. And if you're going through a great time, like we have done, share that. You're only as good as those people. So let's do those wage increases now. We've won that job, which is the situation that we're now in. We told you we couldn't do it then. Said if we won this work and this new window would be marketed and accepted in the industry, you'll be rewarded. So here's your now rise. So they've got to be on that journey with you, and they're only on that journey if you're two way with them. So that's what I try to do. Sometimes I think I'm too honest and too open. I probably need to work on that. But I always appreciate someone being straight with me, so I try to be that as well. But yeah, celebrate the wins, small wins, big wins, and talk through the negativity or the bad things as well. Quality wasn't good enough, or we didn't get that job. But here's the thing. So transparency, openness is where I'm at, because I think that's how I like to be treated.
Brilliant. And I'm sure lots of the listeners will empathise with that, and hope that that's how they're leading their business as well. I mean, you just coming back to the AI point a little bit, you described on one of your posts that AI is a very clever 12-year-old, smart but in need of context and supervision. And I absolutely loved that and think it's such a really great analogy. So you mentioned that you want more time to understand AI, but is there anywhere that you've put it into your business that's meant it's delivered value, and or because I think lots of, as I mentioned, manufacturing MDs are thinking everybody's doing it. Should I be? What are they using it for? How do we utilise it? Where do we put it? Do I need to find the time to get it in? What does it actually look like? Is there anything that because I do believe that you are ahead of the majority on this, is there anywhere where you've put it in, you've already seen the value, or where you would like to put it in because you know it will bring you the value?
Yeah, we're using it right across the business. When I launched it with the staff in the room, we had people from logistics, systems, accreditations, production, pricing, estimating. I made sure to go around the table and say, can you think of how you would utilise this in your role? And until you start challenging that, like, I won't be able to use that. So the logistics person, for example, was like, well, I can't see how I can plan any of my transport routes because, they've got to have certain breaks. They like to only stop at certain places that have got showers or parking. And, sometimes I might link 3 or 4 routes together and they've only got certain driving hours. So I'm not sure how it would help me. I can use it to help with emails and things like that, I'm sure. So I said, well, let's test it. So I said, give me a route. And so we typed in a route, this was in the session, that we needed to go. I think it was Liverpool to London in an 18-ton. And the driver only liked to stop at places that had showers and safe parking and somewhere to eat. And there was something else. And it came back and it planned the full route, saying your driver would need these hours. They would go down this road and there's this stop. It did the full lot and it blew her away. So that was great. So then we moved on to the lady that writes all our processes and things. I mean, she loves it. Like, AI is her best mate. It's great. She's really embraced it. And she's like, oh, right, okay. So I write all processes. At the minute, we're doing QR codes and we're putting lots of helpful things on there, like how to toe and heel glass. So, your door doesn't catch because the glass is balanced right. So she's like, I'd love to have some diagrams and things. And I can't do diagrams. I can't draw. So we said, can you write me a toe and healing process? And it wrote it. And then we said, now can you do some diagrams to be able to illustrate this process? And it popped out a diagram. And then we said, now can you put it on our letterhead, and uploaded our logo? And there we had a wonderful document, how to turn heel glass with a diagram. So
brilliant.
Yeah, so they're really embracing it. So even we've got a new machine document like this. All I wanted to know is how many times do we need to service it? And, what machine checks do we need to do? Is there any guidance on that? And read this document. It was mammoth. So I just uploaded it in and said, can you tell me all the service and maintenance requirements in a short summary? Now Can you put this into a toolbox talk to say about the new machine to the staff? And now can you put it into a machine checklist so that every day I check all these things you're asking me to do? Done.
Brilliant. And is that all still through ChatGPT, or are you seeing that your sector, the manufacturing sector, are starting to create their own specifically for an area? So like your logistics and your transport planning, are you seeing that you're being approached, or that there's stuff out there that's relevant to the sector around AI, or are you still just utilising the standard ChatGPTs at this stage?
Yeah, so we have been approached by a lot of people now. And this is where my pain is, because it's like I need to keep up with what it can do. And it can do so much. And it isn't just ChatGPT. But obviously, the most important thing in a business is having that privacy document around your AI. So in our privacy document, that actually helped us write it. Our staff are only kind of permitted to use the ChatGPT at the moment on the Plus model. So we've got the privacy settings in there as well. Because obviously, whatever information you're putting in there, if you're not on the privacy settings, then you haven't followed some privacy documents. There could be some GDPR breaches and things. So they're only using ChatGPT at the moment. However, there's lots of plugins to GPT at the moment. So like your Canva and things like that, and the video editing side of things. So it does move you into other platforms, and I'm comfortable with that. So we make little videos and posters and things in Canva, which
that's brilliant. And really great to share with other business owners that aren't at this stage yet. And you can see these new shiny things coming in the market, but really understanding where it sits, how you go about implementing it across the board. That's what a lot of MDs are talking about, that they know what it can do, but how you actually put it into practice in your workplace is totally different. Then getting everybody to use it, and those non-tech savvy people, keeping them up to speed. It is a challenging time for us all, but it's definitely the way that it's going. So it's brilliant that you're already on that journey. And I guess that kind of brings us to a really nice close, Kerry, and I'm really grateful. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of MDs in Manufacturing. It's been a brilliant conversation, hearing everything about how you're embracing AI, how you're the innovation in real practical ways, and more importantly, the bold decisions that you're making around your new products, around what's happening in the market. And what I always think when I speak to you is how you stand out with your hands-on leadership style, whether that's overseeing quality control on the factory floor, whether that's in your Women in Manufacturing group, or like you've talked about, your honesty, transparency and openness. It's absolutely clear that your clarity of purpose and commitment is shining through in the culture at CB Solutions. So I'm really grateful that you've shared that with me today. And, I'm sure that to everyone listening, that it's given everybody a real mix of realism and inspiration. And that's hopefully what this podcast has been all about. So thanks so much for joining me.
Good. I think this is brilliant, Kerry, what you're doing. I mean, it just shows how much you know about manufacturing industry and how you're wanting to constantly learn more about what we need in manufacturing. And I just can't wait, because you said there about me being hands-on, and I do love being hands-on. Of course I do. I love that variety. But I can't wait for Gateway 2 to release everything. And then I'll come and see Kerry Herb, who absolutely knows our manufacturing industry and our business, and we'll get that position replaced.
Good. You absolutely will. You absolutely will. So thanks again, Kerry. And to all of our listeners, if you enjoyed today's episode, give it a share on your socials, tag someone in manufacturing who needs to hear it, and of course, subscribe for more stories from MDs. Thanks again, Kerry, and thanks to everyone listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.